Hi, I'm Katsu Sekine, a financial planner. If you want to buy a real estate in Japan, let's study Japanese mortgage and real estate. The Bank of Japan decided to raise interest rate by additional 0.25% at its monetary policy meeting on July 31st. In March, the policy interest rate was raised by 0.1%, but it was raised by a further 0.25%. Regarding rising interest rate, Governor Ueda said, "The economy is recovering slowly. In addition, wages are significantly higher than last year." However, although the interest rate was raised in this time, he emphasized that the monetary easing policy will continue to be maintained. The reason why the Bank of Japan raised the interest rate in July was economic data from April onward became visible. He said that given the risk of inflation rising by more than 2%, he decided it would be better to raise interest rate. Regarding the risk of worsening the economy by rising interest rate further, Governor Ueda said although it has risen to 0.25%, it remains a very low interest rate. I don't think that the economy will worsen. Furthermore, what are the plans for future interest rate hikes? It depends on the future economic data and price fluctuations. If economic indicators improve, there may be additional interest rate hikes, he answered. Regarding the goal of interest rate hikes, he answered, "When we reach a neutral interest rate, it is a big challenge to decide where to stop rising interest rate. We will think about future interest rate hikes as we go along. When interest rate rise, deposit interest rate rise. But what is worrying is the rise in mortgage interest rate." This was also introduced in this video on the other day. Here it is. The president of AU Jibun Bank said that if the Bank of Japan raised interest rate further in the future, mortgage interest rate will raise. For more details, please watch this video. The interest rate hike in the United States that began in 2022 rose by 4% in a short period of time. But it is unlikely that Japan's interest rate hike will raise to that level. Until now, Japan has maintained a zero interest rate policy for 30 years. Interest rates have been raised twice in the past 30 years. The first time began after the collapse of the dot-com bubble, when interest rates were returned to zero. The second time was during the Lehman shock, when interest rates were also returned to zero. Since last year, wages in Japan has been rising for the first time in 30 years, which led to this interest rate hike. Considering the recent stock market crash, I think future interest rate hikes will be decided with caution. I think interest rate will probably be lowered in the United States in September. The interest rate will be lowered in the United States and raised in Japan, narrowing the interest rate gap between Japan and the United States. As a result, I think the yen will appreciate. I think import price in Japan will also stabilize. The reason Bank of Japan decided to raise interest rate is because Japanese wages have been rising for the past few years. If the yen continues to appreciate, it will become more difficult for Japanese companies to make profit. As a result, it is expected that wages will become more difficult to increase. When that happens, will the Bank of Japan decide to raise interest rate further? I would like to see future developments. In the past few years, asset management has been booming in Japan. Even if you borrow a large amount of mortgage, you do not make an early repayment, but instead purchase stock-based investment trusts. However, I think that the importance of early repayment of mortgages will be reconsidered in the future. Japanese Real Estate Information Channel will continue to provide information on Japanese real estate and mortgage. If you would like to know more about real estate and mortgage in Japan, please subscribe our channel. See you.